Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and this is the Road to the Record, where I work to achieve mastery of 10 games in a hunt for the best score of the Decathlon. If you like what you see, remember to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, hit subscribe. Let the games begin. This is Draft Day Sports College Basketball 2017, and this is week 25 of competition. Today marks the beginning of Season 9 in the game. So, through 8 seasons, here's a quick review of where we're at before we get Season 9 going. And I have gone from a team prestige of 0 to 12. And we've also moved up in conference. We are up to Conference R now. If you look real quickly here, it is letters A through V. 23 conferences. We started at the bottom in Conference V. We are up with 4 straight promotions right now to Conference R. Overall, the team history, it was, we edited a previous team, which I couldn't tell you who it was, but their negative record has now been matched. So the all-time school record, if we're counting back prior to my takeover, is now at 500. We have 3 conference championships, all earned by me, and 3 NCAA tournament appearances thanks to those 3 championships. We've also been to the other tiered tournaments once. Quickly looking at the team history, here is that team history of how I have done. We were 8-19 in our first season. We were 18-11 by season 3, getting into the CIT. We rubber banded, and then that's where we've started that climb ever since over the last 4 years. So we won the league there after going 19-13. We had our first 20-win season, and this last year was the best record ever by the team with a 24-7 record. That 22-9 was not good enough to win the tournament for the conference. So that's my NIT tournament sandwiched in amongst 3 NCAA bids. This year, these are the teams that I'll be facing off with in the conference, and I have a pretty strong record against Northern Kentucky. Emmitsburg has been pretty balanced, but no other team have I played more than twice. And here's my 2024, which was last season, end of season things of note. So Gerard Ashe ended up the number 320 recruit. Gaines was 274. And then I won Conference Coach of the Year. Chad Williams made first team. Teddy Hazelton made second team. And Freshman of the Year was Teddy Hazelton. So you can see how well he did as a freshman. All right, we're going to go ahead and jump into things. We are just about to the first game of the season. Today is the deadline to make a decision on red shirts for the year, so this is where I'm going to take the first real good look at our roster for this season. I have 2 walk-ons and every scholarship athlete available to me, and so I have 4 point guards, 3 shooting guards, 2 small forwards, 4 power forwards, and 2 centers, so not quite balanced this year, partially due to the recruits that were available to me. Lewis Myers is a sophomore. He's one of the walk-ons. So at point guard, really, I have just the 3 guys. Gaines is the one coming in as a freshman, so I'll be taking a look at whether it's worthwhile to redshirt him or not, as there's a redshirt freshman right beside him in the lineup. Plus, Zimmerman is a redshirted junior. And at shooting guard, I have 2 freshmen in Erskine and Dixon. Dixon is a walk-on, so Erskine is the recruit that I brought in. And then there is Teddy Hazelton, who's a redshirt sophomore this year, who was that second team all-conference and freshman of the year last season. Small forward, pretty young there, sophomore and freshman. Ashe is a true freshman, so another one to look at. There's a good chance that he will not redshirt just because I only have a couple in the position. You can look at how young I am kind of across the board. This year, I have 0 seniors. 0. So I have no scholarships that are going to be opened for next year. That will drastically impact the pace of this season. Without any recruiting, I'll be flying through this one pretty quick. So there should only be 2 episodes to get through the entirety of this season. And then we'll push on into the next season with this same group coming back for more. Which means that next year we should have a really strong squad. There's going to be a bit of rebuilding for this year, as I had quite a few players going out. I believe I replaced 4. Rick Tahid, extremely good chance that he will be redshirting, as he is surrounded by 3 other players at the power forward position. And then Earl and Scales are the only ones at center. A junior and sophomore, neither redshirted. But without a third option, I probably would still not redshirt either of those, especially now that they're past their freshman year, though technically I could. Tahid is likely to redshirt, but we'll have to go from there. I have our couple of freshmen here. Guessing Gaines, unless he's that good, and Tahid will likely be the ones redshirting, but here's that all-important ratings that'll determine largely where we're at on that. Looking at our 4 point guards. So Myers is the walk-on, so he's not doing anything there. And yeah, Gaines, he's coming in with not a whole lot of skill. We're not sure yet on what his potential will be. So with Zimmerman as the main option, and that's a bit of a drop-off from last year, by the way, Gaines will be redshirting. So Gaines, let's go ahead and redshirt you. Okay, and then we'll get a good look at him next year. Erskine coming in. Oh, look at that. Erskine, 3.5 rating. Now, Hazelton last year had like a 3.5 or a 4-star rating. He was fantastic. This year, he comes in with a lower rating. Not sure what happened, how that happened, why that happened, what's going on, but he's only showing up as a 2 this year. And the current system, at least, is showing me that Erskine probably should be starting over Hazelton, which is just so weird. There's Dixon, my other walk-on. So Erskine's definitely not going to redshirt. So Erskine and Hazelton will be playing it out for that other position. Ash and Williams are about level, so Ash is not going to redshirt. But here we go with a weak group at power forward, though Ray Price is fantastic. There's Earl and Scales level with one another. Tahid looks like he is second best over Hansen and Feltz. But let's see kind of how they compare. He's definitely a better free throw shooter, but he's not a great scorer. A little bit better passing. Handling's about level for those guys. He's a little stronger rebounder, but not a massive difference between them. He's not a good defender. And his athleticism doesn't match up. A lot of these stats are pretty close to one another. I think I'm going to go ahead and allow Tahid to redshirt, as this year I don't expect promotion this year. Team's not as strong. I lost a lot of good players. This might be that first time in 5 years that I don't see promotion. And we'll build for next year's squad. And if I'm building for next year's squad, I definitely got to have one of these power forwards sitting out, because that's way too many guys for the minutes. And they're all on scholarship. And 3 of them all redshirted. So Tahid has not. So I'm going to go ahead and redshirt Tahid. There we go. Okay, so with the red shirts taken care of, Gaines and Tahid sitting this season out. Quick check on GPA to see if I have any work to do on any players, and no. Scales is a little bit low, but he's okay. He's going to keep eligibility. We're going to go ahead now and move to the depth chart. Once I get the rotation set, we'll be ready to start our season. Okay, so Gaines and Tahid sitting this one out. My 2 walk-ons are better than the evaluation says they are. And from a coaching standpoint, lots of potential across the board, except for Kerry Williams. Well, my walk-ons, but Kerry Williams. And then, out of all people, Teddy Hazelton, who was just an absolute stud last season. So weird. Okay, I might actually make adjustments to this lineup over the course of the season. Last season, I kept the same lineup going throughout the year, as they were a pretty dominant force and had an excellent season playing as a unit. This season, got a lot of young guys. I want to get some minutes for some of them. And like Scales and Earl, they're not going to start side by side. We need to get, let's see. Oh, see, there's Ray Price. Yeah, I'm not starting with 3 big men, especially with the style that I play. That's not happening. So, Scales and Price are going to swap. Scales needs Kerry Williams, I guess. Or do I go straight for Gerard Ash? I think I need to look at those 2 head-to-head. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go back here to ratings so I get the larger look. And between Williams and Ash, because they're both apparently the same quality, but Ash obviously has the higher side, but he's a true freshman. And so, let's see here. They're right about level. Ash is definitely a better ball handler. Williams slightly better on defense. Wow, they really are like the same player, though athleticism definitely goes to Kerry Williams. As close as they are, I'm going to go with Ash, but they're going to have pretty equal minutes, I would think, this season. Okay, so Scales is switching with Ash. Now, Scales needs to be that number 6 guy. Well, maybe not. Erskine needs to be that number 6 guy. I'm going to keep Hazelton in the lineup after the season he had last year. Why in the world would I change him out? So, Erskine. Let's see. You know, according to this, Erskine really is a better player than Hazelton. So, I gotta do it. Okay. So there's Erskine into the starting lineup, and Teddy Hazelton, of all people. Alright, now I want guys that are actually going to have an impact. So Williams is going up. Myers and Dixon. What do I have? I have Feltz, Hansen, and Davis left. Feltz, Hansen, and Davis versus Myers and Dixon. Let's see if there's actually much of a difference between these players. And there is. But if these guys are going to get in much. Alright, so Myers, Dixon. I'm going to kind of play all of these guys about the same. Maybe let's go 85 on all of them. All of them getting a shot. Williams definitely needs to play. And Hazelton. Well, maybe I should just keep a quick rotation throughout the year. Kind of for everyone. Okay, on to the rotation. Like, nobody should be in for all 10 minutes. Not this season. Why don't I start with Earl and Scales? That'll be easy. Especially as they should be right about 50-50. So here's Earl, the 6'4" edge. And that should be Scales right there. Oh yeah, I gotta fix this. Why don't I go ahead and do that and then reset? Okay, so Earl 3, Scales 2. Yeah, see, that's not right. Earl 4 and Scales 1. Okay, so Scales. There's 3 for Scales now. 3, 3. And then it should be more like 2, 2. Okay, second half, Earl. How about we go shorter at the start here? So Earl, Scales, Scales. So now Earl will play a little bit more in the last chunk. And let's see, we'll do Scales there. So Earl will be in at the end of the game. Alright, so there's Earl and Scales taken care of. Now my small forward position should be similar in that it's going to be Williams and Ash back and forth, about 50-50 on minutes. So there's Ash. And Williams. Okay, so there's Williams getting in. And then here's Ash. No. Hold on, let's go back to what that was. Williams. Here's where there's too much Ash. So Williams needs to get, let's say, there and there. Now it says 2020. That'll work. Okay, so now they're 2020. Alright, that's 2 positions. Now, Hazelton and Erskine. Let's just see where they're at. Hazelton is at 12, and Erskine is 28. That's all 40, but that's too much for Erskine after the year Hazelton had. I've got to get him out there. So Hazelton, let's pick you up a couple right there. That's 16 now. Yeah, and that actually might be enough. He'll play a lot in the first half, and then Erskine will get a lot of the second half, it looks like. How about we go Hazelton there. And we'll get Erskine back in. There. Okay. 24-16. I'll take that split. Okay, point guards. Gotta double check my depth chart on that one. So Zimmerman. But then I have Myers and Davis. I want to give Davis more minutes than Myers, but Myers seems to be the better player. So what do they have for Zimmerman? 28. Might cut that down to about 26 or 24. Let's see. Where's the other guys? Davis? Oh, see? Davis doesn't even have any minutes. So Davis is going to take a couple minutes off of Zimmerman. And how about we do something early on here, like right there. Okay, and right there. Now you have 4. And then, oh, Myers, that's way too much. We're going to take a couple minutes away from Myers here. Yeah, he'll play. Let's go with Zimmerman there. Okay, and then second half, way too much Zimmerman and Dixon, right? Because, oh no, Davis has 4. And Myers has 10. So, Davis. Okay, now he has 8 and 10, which gives Zimmerman 22. That'll work. All right, and finally, power forward. My best player, Price, but he's got the most players on the depth chart behind him. Well, besides the position I was just looking at. So, Ray Price. But then there's a big drop off to Feltz and Hansen. So let's see, what do they have down for Price? 32 minutes. Feltz and Hansen need to at least have maybe 6 each. Let's go with 6. Feltz has 4. And there's his 4. So let's move into the second one. And Hansen has 4. So that did get split evenly. Let's give Hansen 2 more right there before the half. And then we'll give Feltz a couple. Here. Now Price has 28. All right, that sounds good. All right, so we are gonna move forward.
You have new mail.
Get that season going.
That's
have my depth chart, my rotation. There we go. Okay, season begins. And we'll sim through the first few days till we get to our first game, and we'll watch the season opener. There it is. We've got Cleveland State. Cleveland State for our first game. All right, so Zimmerman, Erskine, Ash, Price, and Earl make up the starting lineup. Game speed set to 10. We're going to try to fly through this one. It's already quite a ways into this episode. I want to see if we can't get through the non-conference schedule relatively quickly. By the way, the early scoreline suggests that despite this being a rebuilding year for me, we're still a pretty good team, as we're off to a strong start, up by double digits here early in this game. Hazelton, 3 for 3, 7 points. Is he not happy about not starting? Or is he just that good? Are we reading into his quality wrong? I don't know. We'll see. Ash, true freshman, 5 points. Adam Scales off bench, 6 points. Erskine's got 10 points, so maybe he is legit as well. Though he's only shooting 1 of 4. Okay, that leads up over 20 now as we are cruising into the second half here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the team stats here for a moment. So total rebounds, we're about even. Steals, we are way ahead though. We've got 9 steals to 2, meaning a massive gap on the turnovers. We've committed just 4, forced 16. We just had 2 turnovers back to back. We are shooting 51% from the field, 20 to 27 from the free throw line. I traditionally not gotten the free throw line much at all, so that could be Erskine who has a bit to do with that, because he's still only shooting 1 of 5, but those 10 points, they had to come from somewhere. We are 8 of 18 from beyond the arc, and here in the closing seconds, we give up a few points, though Erskine looks like he made a last-second three-pointer. We finish 97-79, so we nearly topped the century mark. Erskine finished with 13, Scales finished with 18, and Earl with 12. All right, well, there's the season opener, and we start off strong with a very comfortable, nearly 20-point win. And let's go ahead and finish the week out. We've got Worcester next. That is going to be a home game. And we pick up the win on that game as well, starting off the season at 2-0. Next up is going to be Santa Clara on the road. They are 1-0 to start their season. So that could be a tougher game. I'm not sure where Santa Clara would fall into the scheme of things. That's one thing about the non-conference schedule that comes up a lot, is I really don't know what the quality of team is that I'm going up against typically.
You have new mail. You have new mail.
Let's glance at the schedule here real quick. So the Worcester game, 73-48. Wow. All right, so Santa Clara, they are 1-1 now. We've got Elon, Stephen F. Austin, Alamo Heights, Hartford, 3 road games in a row there. Before returning home to take on Montana State. We've got our non-conference rival in Portland State, Bowie Creek, Seattle, and Missouri State. That's going to be our non-conference schedule. And then in January, we'll kick off the conference schedule for Conference R. Let's get back out there and get through another week here real quick. So we've got 1 on the road and 1 at home this week. And we go to 3-0, so we got that win, but there's an injured player. Let's go ahead and check in and see who it is, what has happened. Oh no, Ray Price. 47% for 57 days. Is that his overall, or is that just his nose? That's 2 months. And that's our top player. I guess we'll find out here in a moment. Still on the depth chart. So in our third game of the season, our best player goes down with an injury that could sideline him for 2 months, or at least will cause him to be not playing as well. Game 4, regardless of whether he plays or not, we should be in pretty good shape on that one, as we are 3-0 and Elon's 0-3, and we're playing them at home. And sure enough, we do get the win there at 4-0. And before I move into the next week, I'm going to quickly review that depth chart and see if the AI automatically swapped that out.
You have new mail.
Okay, no news there. But is he still on? He's still on the depth chart. No, he did not play. Oh gosh, that was 2 minutes into the Santa Clara game too when that happened. Well. Okay, so he's going to be out for a while, which means it is probably by default switching up the depth chart and the rotation on me with him not in there. So maybe I should be handling this one myself, as he's going to be out for quite a while. So let's go ahead and switch up. Adam Scales is going to come in and get the start beside Daniel Earl. And then that's going to make Feltz and Hansen become a bit more... see, they're still getting Price in there. There it goes. Okay, Scales. Whoa, 36 minutes. And Earl, 30 minutes. Yeah, let's get Hansen a couple more minutes in there, huh? Hansen's in for that. Why don't we get him in here for Scales? That's already 6 minutes. And then let's take a glance at Ray Price. See, they still have Ray Price in there for 10, but I don't think he can play. And Feltz, maybe he'll pick up those minutes. Let's go ahead and continue on for now, and I'll take a glance again next week and see how things go. So both games this week are going to be on the road, so there's definitely a chance that I could pick up a loss in either of these two games, and Stephen F. Austin do get the win against us. We drop our first game of the year. We're at Alamo Heights next, so it looks like we're staying in Texas for this game. And at 0-4, I would think we should be able to get this one. Looks like we might have only had one game this week. Oh no, just the turn of the month. And the ensuing autosave that comes with it. Oh, we lose both games on the road. And that was to a team that was not good. So I very much need to work on that depth chart some, as that did not go well for us. That was a poor week. Figured we at least should have had the last game. Alright, again, we have 0 scholarships, so there's no reason for me to do any recruiting this year, which is so strange to be missing out on that, but it is what it is. Okay, Ray Price. Let's look at the game logs. Okay, he did play 4 minutes in the last game. But obviously is struggling. Did not play the 2 games before that. So looking at these guys, Scales and Earl. Earl's got 30 minutes. Scales has 34. Maybe I take 2 minutes from Scales and give them to Earl. Like right here. That is a 10-minute stretch that he's in, though. But that's the end of the half. Okay, Hansen's at 6 minutes. Phelps is at 0. While Price is at 10. So I need to take minutes away from Price and give them to Phelps. Like right there. And there. And we'll do that one more time. There we go. And let's go another week forward. Let's hope this week goes a little better for us. After a quick start to the season at 4-0, I've dropped 2 straight, now 3 straight games. That was a lot tougher game. So all 3 of those road games in that stretch ended up as losses. We've got Montana State at home next. And these Grizzlies, they're a decent team. They're 3-2. And after losing 3 straight and being down our best player, there's certainly no given here. Day of the game. Big moment for us. Can we finally bounce back and get back into winning ways? We do. We go to 5-3. Next up, rival Portland State on the road. They are 3-4 this season. But traditionally, I've had difficulty playing them on the road. When I've got them at home, we beat them easily. But when we play them on the road each year, it's been a bit of a struggle for us.
You have new mail. You have new mail.
Okay. Gonna take a quick look at Price and check those game logs and see. Okay, couple did not plays again. He's down to 38 days. Whoa, we're playing Seattle, who's only 1-5 this year. Can I finally beat Seattle? I've never beaten Seattle all time. Alright, well, let's get out there. I get them in the non-conference schedule this year. It's always been conference games. We've moved up a lot together. Alright, day of the game. Big moment. Can we finally beat Portland State on the road? We do not. Once again, home court advantage goes to the team at home. They definitely take the advantage and they roll with it. So we dropped to 5-4. We've got Bowie Creek up next. We were in the league with them about a year ago. And they were a decent enough team, but they're only 3-6 this season. And with us at home, we should be the favorites. But again, ever since we've been down our man, Ray Price, it's been a bit of a tough go. Let's go ahead and push right through this next week here. We're just about to the end of the non-conference schedule here. We do get the win against Bowie Creek. Here is struggling Seattle U at just 1-7, and we're playing them at home. If there's ever a chance that we're finally going to beat Seattle U, it should be now. And I'm going to actually go ahead and watch. We're going to watch that game. That'll wrap up this episode. And if we get to a big enough lead, I'll probably cut out a little bit early. But at 6-4 and at home, we get Seattle U, who's just 1-7 finally. So is this the year? Can I finally pull off a win against Seattle U? We're level early, but I get a couple back-to-back threes to get a lead, but they come right back. So we got a tight game here early on. We are up just 1 point after 6 minutes. Erskine's got 5 points early on. And here we are. We're trailing the Seattle U, who's just 1-7. And yet, this is the team that always seems to have my number. They are out-rebounding us so far. Turnovers are pretty close, but I'm shooting just 39% from the field while they're shooting 46% from the field. So we end the half down 9 points. Okay, I've burned one timeout, and the lead is growing. So here we are. I just used another timeout. All I've got left is one full timeout, yet I am down double digits in this thing. I'll try to work the referee. Okay, there goes my final timeout. And they instantly stretched the lead out further. So I went from trailing by 11 to they go on a 7-0 run to start pulling away from us. So Teddy Hizington, 9 points. Scales has 11. And Seattle U is going to keep up their perfect record against me, even though they are just 1-7 on the season. Yes, I am without my best player, but that is a terrible, terrible excuse. Terrible performance in that game. We shot 19 of 58 from the field and lose 72-57. I knew I was going to have some struggles this year, but that's not the kind of struggles I expected. Not to go down to a 1-7 Seattle U, dropping our record to 6-5, and that was at home. But I'm out of time, so I'm having a mediocre season so far. Hopefully, at least in the conference, I can hang on for mid-table finish so that we don't get relegated and I have to rubber band my way back up to Conference R. I know I'm going to have a much stronger year next year, but I'm looking at least survive this season and not plunge back down. But that does it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer, and remember, I'm aiming for the best of the best. So if you're ready to join me on my journey, hit subscribe, and tune in next time on my road to the record. Bye for now.